Happy Sunday, everybody. It is another glorious day here in Louisiana where we've had non-stop rain. It has rained so much that I would not be surprised if you hear on the news that we've had massive flooding. Matter of fact, we even had a tornado this morning that came through. So just keep an eye out for Louisiana. We've got a lot of rain coming. Not anything unusual that we wouldn't normally have. It was just a lot at one time. I do want to do a little housekeeping before we get into the cooling off of the housing market. If you saw the title and the thumbnail, you'd see I'm going to be talking to somebody here about that. But first, I want to talk about the fact that within my channel, you guys probably have already seen this. I'm going to put this up. All right. So you see this thing right here? There is tons of these bots that are coming out. They're using my profile picture. And they have been commenting. You can see this person's commented 95 times telling them to use a WhatsApp number to have a communication with them. And what happens is with that communication, they start talking to them on WhatsApp, and they are saying that that I'm telling them to invest money into Bitcoin. This is something I would never, ever, ever do. Never do. I'm not a financial advisor by any means in the imagination, and nor would I ever, ever, ever talk or discuss anything about Bitcoin other than maybe some people are buying Bitcoin to buy real estate, blah, 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 blah. But I would never tell you to do that. Never in a million years. So if you've actually communicated with these people, just know it's definitely not me. If you're unsure if it's me, always know that the comment that comes from my channel will always be highlighted. My name will be highlighted. It will say Kristina Smallhorn. It will have like a gray highlight over my name. If it's not highlighted, click on the picture to see where it takes you to their channel. And if you go to their channel and they have no subscribers, most likely they just opened that account to start this spamming. I'm very concerned about it because they are asking for so much money and they're using my picture to scam people. And I just don't want you guys to be scammed. So just be very aware of that. I will never, ever, 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 ever ask you to communicate to me through a WhatsApp. The only way that, like I always tell you guys, if you have a question, please email me at info@KristinaSmallhorn.com. info@KristinaSmallhorn.com. It's super simple. So let's just we got that over with. Let's just get into what we really want to talk about, which is the housing market. So I've been talking to real estate agents all over the place, and some people are like, no, it's still bonkers, just going crazy. And then some people say there's been a cooling off, and we're going to be talking to somebody in South Florida, one of the hottest markets in the United States. Her name is Michelle B, and you can find her as #SoBoca. She's been everywhere. She's all over social media. You can always find her. And she's been a longtime friend of mine. So we're going to go ahead and throw up Michelle B. Throw up. That was not a good choice.
I knew what you meant. Hi, everyone. Some people might throw up.
I've got some longtime watchers here. I got Lawnmower, I got Sear Guru. They won a cup last week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I don't know if you know this, Miss Michelle B. I actually reached 100,000 subscribers. So
I saw that.
Yay. So Michelle B, tell them a little bit about you. Like everybody, nobody cares about me. Let's talk about you.
Cares about me. Hi guys, I'm Michelle Balsari. I'm down in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida, South Florida, longtime resident, realtor, and lifestyle blogger with #SoBoca, and good friends with Kristina Smallhorn. We met through, shocker, social media. And she's one of the most giving people I know when it comes to sage advice in regard to YouTube, and just a kind of person who always has great information here on her channel and in groups that we're in together, and now Clubhouse. So thanks for having me on this beautiful Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, you didn't have to talk about me. Let's talk about you.
Yeah,
that's okay. So, the housing market. So I've been talking to a bunch of real estate agents within some of the places that you and I communicate through other real estate agents.
Yeah.
And in some areas, they say we've had a cooling off. Now, let's just say like a cooling off in the fact that They, instead of getting 40 offers, they're getting 10.
Right.
Instead of being on the market for, 24 hours, they're on the market for 3 days. I mean, nothing to like say that the market is crashing. So
Right.
and I think that was to be expected this time as more people became vaccinated and gotten out and about. That's what I see. So what is your opinion, my friend?
So I'm in Florida. Florida is in play, as I like to say. And I think the biggest piece about Florida is we draw so much from the Northeast. What
Mm-hmm.
happened to the Northeast? High taxes. And in Florida, we have no state income tax here. So there's a couple of things that are always kind of in play. But when everything started happening in 2020 and people realized that they really wanted to be outside, they wanted more living space, they wanted to have a place to go. A lot of people
Be
snowboard
warm.
here, and yeah, right. And they just want to be where the lifestyle is, I think, a little more relaxed, a little more fun. And we have a lot of businesses moving here and tech hubs that are really bubbling up in Miami, in Boca, in the Palm Beaches. And so we're starting to see this really interesting shift of the tech people coming. Now, we do also draw from Texas and California. Obviously, with California, their residential real estate is bonkers. Ours, you can still find affordable things here. The issue is, yes,
What is your
affordable.
what is your version of affordable in your area?
I would say, I mean, you could still get a 2-2 condo somewhere, not just in Boca, but somewhere in South Florida for under 200,000, right around 200,000. That's not terrible.
No.
But our average price point's a little bit higher. Right now, we have about 1.3 months of inventory in the Boca, Delray, kind of Palm Beach area, single family homes, and also condos and townhouses.
We have like
However,
3 weeks.
well, but the problem is that, and this is what I keep saying, if you don't need a single family home, then go for a condo or a townhouse or something else that has less people trying to duke it out to get these houses. Summer typically does slow down for us a little bit. And so it's going to be interesting to see now that Memorial Day is behind us, what's going to be happening in the next 2.5, 3 months, because around September is also when everyone starts looking at Florida to come for the winter. So I think part of the thing is none of us have this crystal ball. We are speculating. And I think we're all hearing some of the similar things, which is, look, interest rates are historically low. Even if they raise interest rates, they're still going to be historically low. And I went through the short sales and foreclosures. And it's my opinion that I don't know how much we're going to see of that right now, because these banks did do forbearance. They learned a lot from that housing market crash. They're working with homeowners. Now, will there be foreclosures and short sales? Yeah. But that's probably people who wouldn't have been able to afford what they're in regardless of what had happened.
I wish I had pulled up this thing, but it was saying that people on forbearance is actually going down, but the people that are in foreclosure is actually going up, which was an interesting statistic. I do want to say thank you, Chris Conkle, for sending up the $10 super chat and telling me congratulations, and Jeff Patriot. Thank you so much for the $3 super sticker. That was very nice, very, very nice.
It's a different kind of Sunday.
So are you seeing though, is there less offers now in your area that would be for homes?
I'm not seeing a huge slowdown, but when I'm talking to other agents, I'm asking them the same question. And I think overall we're seeing a little tiny bit of a slowdown. And that can also be because people are vacationing, they're vaccinated, they're traveling again. So that zero in focus of we got to find a house, we got to find property that happened last summer is vastly different than this summer. So I think we're just going to kind of have to sit back and wait and see a little bit. But I suspect it's going to cool down a little bit because that panic buying isn't going to be there the way it had been.
I don't. The panic buying is not going to be there. There's going to be more people that are putting their house on their market because they feel more comfortable. it's going, there's just, we expected this,
Yeah.
but this is the one thing that people are like, well, less people are buying now, so the houses are going to drop like a rock.
I don't
It's
think
not
so.
happening.
No.
I mean, it's not happening in the next 6 months, like
Oh, no, I don't think so.
mark it on the calendar 6 months from now. That would be December 6th. If the prices tank at that time, then I will send you a cup.
I'll take that cup.
Oh,
Yeah,
somebody got their
I
cup,
hear
by the way. Somebody got their cup. CC Moon got their cup.
ya. Oh, yay.
Oh,
Nice.
I'm sorry, Eddie. I keep pushing the button before he does. They got theirs from Arizona. I didn't know who was going to end up getting their cup,
Oh,
but
nice.
one person actually. I know this is totally off topic, but one person actually got a cup just like this.
Oh my gosh.
There's the
What
cup.
is that thing? Oh, see, that's a good wine cup.
Yeah, right. My husband he always jokes with me because I always have big cups.
See, this is mine. I've got my little, like I'm always on brand. This is my Lily Pulitzer, cup.
All right, Eddie, go ahead and throw up that first article that we were talking about that we were going to have up there. We have 252 people on the stream. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. In Phoenix, many sellers are listing at comps instead of ahead of where the market is likely headed. What is your preference on where to list, at comps or where it is headed?
That's
What do you do?
Question.
That is an excellent question.
Well, it always comes back to what the seller wants to do. We do not determine per se what a seller is going to list their property at. We can just share comps. We're not an appraisers. And that's the tricky question right now. Do you want to be competitive? Are you going to get multiple offers if you price it accordingly? I think most sellers are, trying their hand at higher prices. And we still see properties on the market that have had some price reductions here and that have not been on the market for just 3 days. Like I'm looking at some properties, they've been on the market 26 days, 30 days. Now that could be because there's reasons behind that. Maybe they need to do post-occupancy. But in most cases, I don't know about you, but I go with what's going on with the comps. So that particular time frame, the comps are showing X, Y, Z. And that's what I show, the sellers. And then we determine, like, do you want to bump it up a little bit higher? And, you'll know right away if you're in play. It's not like you're going to have to sit there and wait. And if you're sitting on a property for more than a few days, then you're probably overpriced, even in this market.
So this is exactly what I do. I show them the comps, right? And then I tell them, okay, here, I don't know if you can see the number. Here are 3 numbers.
Yeah.
So this is going to be your overprice at 230.
Yeah.
This is where I think you should list at 220. But if you want you want to start a frenzy, start it at 215. I never do any kinds of numbers that are like 229, 900.
Right.
To me, that is the dumbest way to price your house. And the reason being is because when you are searching through the internet, you put a stop number and a begin number. And if you have stopped it at 229, 900 and the person is looking and their minimum is 230, you've already erased those people.
Yeah.
But people do it all the time. I'm like, what are you doing? Is this Walmart? Stop pricing your houses this way.
I don't know. And I have heard sometimes they'll go, well, that's my lucky number. That's my lucky combo of numbers. I've heard that.
One of my clients bought a house that was like $227 and $50 or something like this. This is when the MLS did that, because now they only do zeros at the end.
Right.
And she was like, "What was with that number?" I said, "I have no idea," but she felt like it was some kind of omen, so she bought the house at that price.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. All right. Do we have any more questions, Eddie? Do you want to throw the one up?
That's a great question.
It was a fantastic question. I am 28 years old in California. Make a $70K a year and have about $100K. Should I keep it in saving by cash? Don't have a realtor, sort of giving up on this market.
First time home buyer, I'm taking it.
I'm assuming that as well.
Assume, because I'm a mama millennial, so you're in between my two. It really depends. You're in California. I don't know what part of California. I'm not as familiar with the market, other than I know the prices out there are extraordinarily high, even in a non-crazy hot market. Like it's California. Plus your taxes, I believe, are pretty high there. You
Mhm.
know, that's where, if it were me, I would be talking to a realtor to
And a
get on
financial
their
advisor.
radar, get like the skinny on what you need. Like I had a conversation this morning with someone who's first time home buyer. I'm like, know what you want to spend on your monthly. And this is where I always say, when lenders give out these pre-approvals, it's like, yes, but did you tell them what you're comfortable with spending each month and back into that so that, okay, maybe you have a 300,000 pre-approval, but if you can only afford so much each month, like what are you renting for right now? Is that a stretch for you? If that's a stretch for you and the lender's giving you a number and that's $300 more than what you're paying now, you have to go in and reevaluate what you're comfortable with. You don't want to be house rich and cash poor. It is a crapola position to be in. And now people want to live their lives. It's about experiences. And I know my girls, they want to travel and do things. It's not so much about the real estate, but they want to buy real estate. And they're kind of in your position where they're having to wait because it's just gotten so high for them. But if it were me, I would say talk to a good realtor who's worked with first-time home buyers, who's got some skin in the game and they understand how to work with you, will be patient with you, and know that maybe right now you're not going to buy, but maybe in a year you'll be in that position. You could be now. I don't know what all the details are, but I would be talking to a realtor and I would be talking to a lender.
That's what I was going to say. I would talk to a lender because they're going to be able to determine your debt to income ratio.
Totally.
And that's going to be the biggest factor on what you can afford for a house anyway. So
And the
definitely,
realtor's going to know the inventory situation and they'll be like, look, this is what's not out there. You know, and that's the biggest thing. People go, oh, I'd like to buy a house. It's like $200,000 house. I'm like, not down here. You're not.
and the other thing is that if you don't like the first real estate agent or the first lender you talk to, go find another one.
Move on.
Yeah. And if you don't like that person, find another one. And if you don't like
Yeah.
that person, find another one. Find something that's willing to listen to you. Don't settle just because that's the first person you talk to
Totally
and you
agree.
really hate them. You know, like
And it happens. Sometimes
yeah.
it's just not a great relationship.
V-Dog says, hey, Kristina, thinking about buying a second home in Southern Alabama. Would you recommend buying now or waiting several months? Okay. So are you like, this is V-Dog. This is one of those things. Are you do you have currently a house that you're going to be selling? Secondly of all, is it above right now? Is the housing prices above your price point that you really can spend? You know, what's your pre-approval look like? What does your down payment look like? We don't know what several months down the road is. How long is it going to be before we start to see prices level out? The one thing we do know for sure that this specific housing market is being held up by cash, not kooky loans like it was in 2007. So who knows if you wait several months and like I had told people like wait it out, you know, I was one of those people who said that wait it out because I really thought the housing market was going to fall apart when the pandemic started. But then slowly over time, the legislation just kept changing. So, you know, like weigh it all out. You're going to have to do the pros and cons. And if you want like me to have a little more of a consultation with you, just go ahead and email me at Kristina Smallhorn info@KristinaSmallhorn.com. Okay. Jennifer Lego says, do not purchase without representation. The largest purchase of your life should not be placed at high risk. Hi, Eddie. Jennifer was smart. So Jennifer made sure that her question was highlighted with a super chat. And she said, hello to the producer. Thank you, Jennifer.
So smart.
Great information there. Question: how is the market in Port Charlotte, Florida? Michelle, that's a you question.
So I'm on the East Coast down in South Florida. If you don't know this, the state's a huge state. So I'm down in between Fort Lauderdale and West Palm. Miami's about an hour south. Port Charlotte is to the north. So it's on the west coast of Florida and a little further north. I think Port Charlotte's underneath Tampa, but north of Fort Myers.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know that market, but if it's like all the rest of the state right now, and it's, you know, coastal, chances are, you know, the pricing is as well as here going up, but probably not as high as here in South Florida or say Naples, for example.
I don't know of an area in the country other than like 2 small areas that haven't had an extreme boom that have
Yeah.
gone up since
Yeah.
the pandemonium started.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right. Liberty Returns says, do you think foreclosure opportunities will increase over the next 12 months? Yes. That's my guess.
Probably.
Yeah, because the so June 30th of 2021 ended the ability for someone to actually file for forbearance. So anybody that was on the fence that maybe they should do it, they had all the way till June 30th. That has not been extended. Some people, I don't even know why this even happened. Some people never even filed the forbearance and ended up in foreclosure. All those homes that have been sitting there waiting to be foreclosed on now can start the process. But let me forewarn you, the foreclosure process takes a minimum of 428 days. So even though that has ended, we still have another 428 days before we start seeing those houses that haven't paid during the pandemic to hit the market. So it's just something to think about. But some banks held off even putting any of their foreclosures on the market because of the fact that of everything that's going on, they weren't sure. But now they can release the Kraken, as they say.
And that at least down here in Florida, that doesn't preclude people from trying to work something out with their lender while they're in foreclosure too. Mm-hmm. They can do modifications, and it's going to be really interesting to see because it was taking years here for foreclosures to actually go on the market.
Somebody asked where the like button is. So if you
there it is.
If you X out, oh man, that's stupid light. if all right, so if you're in the chat and you're on your phone, look there, you got the live chat. There's a little X right there. You can close out the X and then you hit the little like button. There it is. So Diane Wilson said, online course resource says, "Thank you for all you do, Kristina." Why, thank you, Diana. Like some people have a name that makes you think of a song. Yeah. And when I think of Diana, I go, "Dirty Diana."
I think of Princess Di when I think of Diana.
Well, I think that song was about her. I think that, I think so. I don't know. Well,
Megan had her baby today, and her baby's name is Lilybet Diana.
Well, how about that? We knew that she was going to do that. All right. Hoarder's Homestead said, "Thank you, Kristina. I live in Seattle market, making $70K a year. I can't compete in the market here. So I found a modular home company with land packages. Now I'm pursuing a NACA loan." Whoop, whoop. I'm telling you, telling you, you're not going to regret buying a modular home. Mm-hmm. Anybody that poo-poos on that idea has no idea what a modular home truly is. After this is done, this house is finished. My kids have moved on with their lives. This is the last home I will ever have that is constructed in a traditional stick-built way. Because I know now, because I haven't been investigating for years now, what modular construction is. I love them. And I think that because of 2020, the mindset of what modular homes are, what they can be done and how quickly they can be done, I think that's going to start changing. I think it's going to start changing.
Well, I think one of the things, now I live close to the Keys. Guess what they have in the Keys? A lot of modular homes. And one of the reasons is because they can withstand a certain hurricane wind strength, because as we are in hurricane season, June 1st through November 30th. And when I tell you there are some gorgeous modular homes all throughout the Keys, and this is actually making me think, because I would love to do, and I had a mobile land combo in Key Largo that I sold last year. We loved it. But moving on to different things, I'd love to know more about modular land combos because I know they're fantastic.
An NAC loan. Somebody wants to know what an NACA loan. I'm looking it up because I've actually never heard of this, but it's NACA, Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, fighting for economic justice with America's best mortgages. And NACA announces $5 billion increase to the NACA mortgage of Bank of America. So I'm assuming that it has to do with California. There's some kind of payment or no down payment, no closing costs, no fees, below market fixed rate. So it's just like
Nice.
it's just a program.
Yeah.
It's just another program, which is really good. So today's rates for this, oh my God, 2%, 30-year fixed mortgage, and a 1.2% fixed year APR. No
Holy
lie.
crap.
Yeah. I'm putting this on my phone. I can't have
Wow. I love
know.
that. Because we have lots of land still in Florida, like central, like Lakeland.
Yeah. So question, Kingdom King 7 says, I looked at a home with a dingy yellow smoke detectors. NFPA recommended new ones past 10 years. Is this legal for sellers to sell their home like this? Yes. And I'm going to tell you why. So every home has to meet building specifications when the home is built. After that home is built, the home has to be maintained. Now, a seller can sell their house in any condition that they want. It's up to you as a buyer to request that certain things that haven't been maintained to be replaced or repaired. That doesn't mean the sellers have to do it because it didn't pass some kind of building code that's relevant now. It's suggested, and sellers used to do these kinds of things, but because the way the market is now, the sellers are like, you don't want it, then I'll sell it to somebody else. But they're not required by law to replace them. Nobody's going to make them do it. Now I know if you're getting a sometimes a VA or FHA loan, they won't let you they won't let the buyers purchase it until those things are replaced. But in most cases right now, like even they're letting some of that stuff go. So just FYI. What do we got here, Eddie? We got something else you want to throw on there?
Oh, NACA.
Oh, yeah, there it is. NACA's best mortgage. There you go. He wants to throw. See, look at today's rates. Look at that. 2%. 2%. No down payment, no closing costs, no fees, below market value fixed rate. Holy cow. There has to be a catch.
I was going to say, what is well, I wonder if there's a credit score minimum. Yeah. And then 2, how does that play in? Is that for the modular home? Does that include, like, if you're financing the land piece, like, how is that working?
Well, a modular home is just like a new construction loan. So whenever you're doing you would have a new construction loan and then they end up closing it with a regular, 30-year mortgage. But you have that construction loan that has the 4 draws or the 3 draws, depending on, so you'd have, it's no different. There's nothing different about it.
Got it.
We got any more questions there, Eddie, my friend? Oh, do you like my new background? I
love your new background. I'm shifting mine around because I got crap behind me.
No, I'm talking about the border around here. I added a new border. I used to do like a red and orange.
It looks good.
Eddie, do you got a question for us to throw up there? Here we go. Question. Do you ladies recommend purchasing a modular home as a shell and as a buyer hire a contractor to install all your own cabinets and backsplash, etc.? Do you have an opinion about this? Because I do.
I don't, because I'm not as familiar with the fact that you have an option to do that. So that's kind of good to know.
Okay, so I do have an opinion about this. So when it comes to modular homes, I would, if it was me, because I am not a construction person and I'm not handy in those kinds of things, and I want every step of the way to be monitored by a hired contractor that I could go back to. Yeah. So even though I bought the shell, something happened to the wiring. Well, the company did the wiring could say, well, that shell of the house wasn't correct, and we had to drill holes through certain kinds of beams in order to get the wires through. Yeah. They could make all these excuses. Yeah. So if it was me, if I was to buy a modular home product, I would buy the product from start to finish, everything is done and you answer to one general contractor for everything. So that way, whenever you are finished with your home and there's any problems, you call that general contractor. You don't have to call separate people.
I think that's a good idea.
That would be my best advice. So let's go ahead and throw another question at my friend Eduardo. He's searching. That or he's washing his hands. I heard his sink. Sometimes I have my dog in here. I was hoping that one of my dogs would be in here so I could put up the dog cam. I'm right, Eddie. Here we go. Eddie's got some down.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, here he wants to put up the
article.
Global housing prices surge in the most since 2006 and shows signs of overheating. It is overheating. I mean, there's houses that, in my opinion, that never should have sold for what they sold for. And it does make me extremely nervous. That
I
whole
think there's
article,
going to be some buyer remorse. I think there's going to be some buyer remorse.
they say that millennials have the highest, when they've done interviews, millennials have had the highest buyer remorse since purchasing their house. But the thing is that article about the buyer's remorse for millennials was a year it was at the beginning of 2020.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you they don't have that buyer's remorse now going into 2021.
Probably not. Not. No, I tend to agree with you on that one.
But the thing is this housing market that we are experiencing here, this is not unique to the United States. It's everywhere. Like if you look at, like, if you start looking up Australia's housing market, they have had this same nonsense. If you look up UK's housing market, they have the same thing. Everybody's going through this ridiculous surge. So it's not unique to the United States. It's everywhere. Canada's been going through it for way before the pandemic started.
Well, they say that the home prices across 56 countries and territories rose 7.3% in the year to March 2021.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
You pulled up some facts for me. Thanks.
Just some facts for you, baby.
Thank you. Make me look more official. Robin says, our question, are hard money loans less attractive for buyers? Even though my income is over $170K a year, my bids have not been accepted. And I'm going to tell you why I think that becomes a thing. In the real estate agent's mind, they're telling them this is a hard money loan, and that they're using a different kind of way of getting their purchase accepted, or their money, accepted. They're getting their loan through a hard money loan. So it almost sounds scary. I don't think some real estate agents are privy to what a hard money loan actually is. But I will say this: we've, as agents, have gotten offers that are, $60,000, $70,000 cash, and they're waiving the appraisal. They're waiving it. Mm-hmm. So if you have somebody with a hard money loan, or you have somebody that's willing to give your sellers cash over the purchase price, they're going to go look at those cash buyers that are getting the typical conventional loan, and they're going to go with that. It's just the way it is. What is your feeling there?
I think you have to really understand hard money.
Most people don't.
That's an investor tactic, and you still have to qualify with that. Whoever you're getting your hard money from, I've not dealt with it, but I live down where there's a lot of investments going on, and I think you have to really understand what that is. And typically, it's my understanding, it's going to be a lot more expensive for you to get that money.
Well, the thing is that these people already have the money. They might be a little capped out on exactly how many assets they have, but they to qualify for
be still higher than what, like, normal.
Our lenders here for hard money, you have to be pretty qualified, and you have to have some pretty good assets for them to do it. Like I wouldn't have a problem with it, because I know with the lenders here. With the hard money loans, they're not taking anybody. They're taking good people that they know they can get their money from.
Just know before you go. That's all I say. Know before you go.
Yeah. So prices are inflating around the world. Yep. Yeah. House prices are inflating around the world. Pandemic related stimulus, ultra low rates, and changes in buyers' behavior, turbocharging markets in Europe and Asia, and of course here in the United States and Canada as well. But I will say there is one market that's starting to see signs of not depreciating value by any means, but their houses have been sitting on the market just a tad longer, is Toronto, Canada.
Interesting.
So yeah,
in Toronto, TO.
Yeah. Susan Sims says, in Louisiana, no flood insurance needed. Who should we buy our homeowners insurance from? Brand new manufactured home. We are paying cash. Okay. Suze, listen to me. You are in Louisiana. You may be in a non-floodplain area. We rain exponentially. Whether you're in a flood zone or not, buy flood insurance. Yeah. It is $500 a year of peace of mind. I've seen people lose everything because they didn't have flood insurance. And when you get that flood insurance, you make sure you have the contents inside. There's homeowners places all over the place. I use Brian Shake Snyder for my homeowners policies. He's with Berg Insurance. Yeah. Like that's who I use. There, you can also go through Progressive. They do homeowners insurance. There is, I have another one right on the top of my head. I can't think of it. State Farm has it, but it's pretty high. Like they have the highest rates here in the area. And I'm trying to think of that. There's another one I can't think of the name of. When I do, I'll let you know. But if you want to email me, Suze, you can. It's info@KristinaSmallhorn.com. All right. What is it? Oh, is Eddie showing the rain right now? Yeah. Yeah, this is us today. This is us today. Like this morning, you couldn't see the neighbor's house across the street. It was raining so hard.
Oh, wow.
It would look like a gray cloud and you could not see. It was just sheets and sheets of rain, like what you see in the movies. It was crazy.
That is crazy. And yet here it's been so dry, like so dry. So, we're praying for some rain.
Yes. All right. Somebody want to throw up a question there, Eddie? Why do I say throw up? That just sounds so gross.
I need a little emoji with that.
Question: have either of you encountered problems with mortgage approval for first-time homebuyers with large student loan balances? Personally, they're already approved ahead of time. They know their debt to income ratio. So I haven't had any issues with that. Have you had any issues with that? I'll tell you what happened. Go ahead.
They are pre-approved. So,
the one thing I did have with a young lady, which blew my mind, totally made me angry. When it came to the time we were about to close, you know how they verify income one more time? Well, I guess she was filling out this paper that she needed to have filled out from her employer. And the way that because she's a bartender, she had to fill out that tip form. Well, the company she worked for wasn't claiming the tips correctly, but she was. So those two numbers didn't match up. And so it looked like that she didn't make enough money, which was totally,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. And they didn't discover that until like 5 days before closing. I was so thankful though. I was very thankful to the listing agent and the seller themselves that they were like, yeah, she can have her deposit back. That wasn't her fault. Like I thought we were going to have to pay for that. Then she just put it right back on the market.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Question: is there a downside to taking out or going with an FHA loan? Not in my opinion. I mean, no. Other than getting your offer accepted at this time, but no.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like VA, FHA, fantastic loans. However, the sellers are just going for cash and then conventional. However, I think if you can present an offer in a manner that the seller understands there's really no downside to them, and that's on the listing agent. A lot of times, and Kristina, you may have run into this where I've seen that the listing agents just are not educated on those kinds of loans. And if you can set it up and even say, listen, I would love to even have the lender call you, not discuss any specifics, but just share with you how easy these loans really can be. It puts that listing agent at ease so that they can at least educate their seller. The biggest problem I run into with FHA loans is when I have the listing and I get something and it's a condo. Well, most of the condos are not approved for FHA financing. And you can go on the HUD site and see ahead of time. So as a consumer, you can even do that and see that. And that's where it becomes a bit of, hey, I hate to tell you this, but because it's a condo, could your buyer go conventional? Could they? And so that's where FHA, sometimes it can be a little bit of a problem. But I think exactly what you said, other than not getting accepted right now, which is unfortunate.
Belinda gave us a $10 super chat. She said, thank you both for answering. Thank you, Belinda. Very nice of you. That was really kind of you. Thank you very much. So do we have any more questions? Here we go. A great solution for affordable housing shortage is to loosen the definition of primary residence. Plenty of people are willing to and able to buy fixers, thus increasing the equity. Jenny, that is the case in many cases. And I don't know if you've watched any of my previous videos, but I've talked about there's a lot of areas throughout the country that the business area that's zoned for commercial is shrinking. More and more people are working from home. That now has doubled,
Yeah.
and a lot of employers are not even going to. They're having their employees come in maybe half a week. They're
Yeah.
not, or they're going to. They say you can pick 3 days that you want to work. You're going to see a lot of these offices after this pandemic change. So we're going to have a lot of empty commercial real estate. This is a perfect opportunity for them to rezone it, make it residential, and turn it into affordable condos that are FHA approved.
Yeah.
There's tons of malls throughout the country that have closed up. This, again, perfect opportunity to change that space into affordable condos where you could have shopping at the bottom. It's been done in Rhode Island and a couple other places. This is nothing new. It can be done. And I mean, we gotta make people understand. And it's a lot of it is on us as people. And I hate giving everybody like oh my God. But if we go to some of these meetings that they have
Yes.
about zoning and everything and explain to them how this could really help the community as a whole, if they offered this to builders, because there's plenty of builders that would love to do it.
Yeah.
For some reason, some of these people that get in office cannot wrap their head around the whole idea of trying to make it better. I don't know why.
So I think what you're saying is, if you have an interest in that, get involved at the local level, go on your city website, go to the planning and zoning board, see who the players are, see who your council people are, and start talking to them and the businesses, get a little more involved in your community. For many years, I was on the Downtown Advisory Committee for the city of Boca Raton in regard to redeveloping things in our downtown. And you'd be surprised that how open people are to these suggestions. And I think we're also going to see some of this commercial space turn into co-work space as well, because people don't need to be in an office 24/7, but they may want space. So I'm kind of curious to see if we're going to see some of that happening more too.
Yeah, like almost like an office, but everybody rents their own little space.
Yeah.
They have those they're Regis buildings.
Yes.
So you can go to this building. It looks like an office, but there's everybody that has their own little cubby, and it's not it's just, you're just renting that little space, that
You're
little
renting
desk
the
area.
space, but what's nice is you can also network with those people in there. So there's some upside to that. We've got a few of them down here. So I'm curious to see if that's going to happen.
In the Shop with Tom. In the Shop with Tom is one of my longtime subscribers. So he has a whole little, he has his own soundbite.
That's
Question.
awesome.
Have you ever used a bank statement loan? Oh, years ago in 2007, 2006. I know, I got chills. Yes.
Oh my, yes, back then and no now.
But I'm sure they're still available. I'm sure the interest rate on those are still. I was told by a lender. I don't do lending, but I was told by a lender that you can still get those loans, but the interest rate on them is it's really bad.
I got a twitch. Since I'm down in South Florida, Miami was the ground zero for mortgage fraud. Yeah.
I was in Orlando.
Oh my.
I was in Orlando.
There
just
you
as
go.
bad. Sal says, question. I believe there will not be a market crash. However, correction or cooling. Those who overpaid or overbid will most likely be impacted. Thoughts? What are your thoughts? Because I have plenty.
Probably. But, I think here's what I always go back to say. One, it depends. And two, what was that person's why? Why did they buy? Why? What? Why? And that's the piece that we don't always know. So we may be saying, oh yeah, people are going to have all these regrets. But at the end of the day, if you're out of the snow, your taxes are lower. You have no
low interest rate
here, low interest rate. Get the pen and paper out, pros and cons. There you go.
Oh. Well, here's the thing too. Let's think about this. Let's say that you bought that house. Let's just say you bought it for $250, and 2 years from now it ends up being $225. But you plan on living in that house for another 7 years. Did you really lose anything? I mean, if that was a payment that you could afford, and yes, at the time it was $250, and yes, it went down $25,000, but in 7 years you could gain that equity back, and you've paid down the principal at a low interest rate. Did you really
And
lose?
you weren't renting.
Yeah. Did you really lose? I mean, that is what, like you said, pros and cons. Is it worth it? Now, I do believe there's going to be some people that regretted writing out a check for cash at $100,000 over the asking price and was totally fine with that. I do believe there's going to be people that regretted cashing out their whole entire 401k to purchase a house. Yeah. There's going to be people that did really silly, stupid things to get in a house because they had FOMO. Yeah, there's going to be.
I think there's, okay. Can I say something to you? Because I think there was a lot of FOMO happening here. I've had conversations with people about that. And when people started making this move from the Northeast, I've heard this conversation. Well, my friends moved into this gated community and we want to move into this gated community, but now we can't find anything under $1 million. Now it's 1.2, 1.4, whatever, and that's the base price. Now, I just to premise that by saying I am not in a gated community. I'm an old Boca girl, so we it is what it is. But we do live in a high net worth, wealthy area, and that was an interesting conversation I had more than once. And I thought, man, that is not the reason to make that move. Like I would say, why don't you buy in this neighborhood here or this neighborhood down here? Because I'm telling you, living here for over 40 years, these are amazing neighborhoods, not gated. We are, if you want to know the crime stats, you can go on, look at the crime stats, but I don't live in a gated community. I've never lived in one, raised my family here. And they would be like, nope, we've got to have gated. I'm like, okay.
But sometimes people just have preferences, you know? Yeah. So question, Eddie, is a every week. Thank you, Eddie, for coming. Or is it Edie? I don't know. Edie, maybe. Yeah. I'm so bad with names. Question about travelers or Geico or USAA for flood insurance. So I don't know if you guys know this. Flood insurance is a universal government mortgage. You don't get a specific brand of flood insurance that not here in Louisiana. Maybe it'd be different in other places. But if USAA offers flood insurance, I'm telling you, USAA is the best homeowners insurance on the planet from what my experience has been for people that had, have had flooding, fires, all sorts of things that have happened throughout the years. I had to convince my dad to leave State Farm because he had been with them forever to go to USAA. And I'm like, Dad, please do this because I'm telling you, we had a tornado that hit our house years ago. And when that tornado hit, I'm like calling my insurance company, begging them to come out. And there's my neighbor. And they wrote him a check for food. They wrote him a check for the preliminary costs for down payments for their roof. I mean, by the time like the evening was done, they already filed a claim and they were going to pay it, as soon as the roof was
amazing.
Done. Yeah. And within a week, he had like a brand new roof. I mean, half section of his house. I mean,
fantastic.
They re-roofed the whole thing. And mine was arguing with me about shingles. I'm like, a tornado hit my house. Yeah. So yeah. If you're going to get USAA, that is a fantastic homeowners insurance. All right. Question. Are any Tesla EV owners asking you for homes with solar plugins and Tesla power walls? This would be a question for you because this is not something that would happen in my area.
I haven't seen anybody ask for it, but I will tell you that a lot of homes here have them because we have a Tesla store here.
Are they built with them?
Yeah, I think the newer homes are. Some of the new builds are, but then I had a listing a couple of years ago, and I don't know if he installed it or it was already there for the Tesla and the EV. And the city itself definitely has some power stations around that are specifically for electric vehicles. So,
well, that's fantastic. Yeah, like I probably in a week I'll probably see one Tesla driving around. I don't know if anybody is aware of this, but I live in a very small town, like Baton Rouge. I'm in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. And so when I walk out the door and pull out of my neighborhood, I see cows and prairies and horses and donkeys. And every time I see a donkey, I go, oh, look at that, Jack. And they're like, yeah, look at it.
I see that too when I see all these high-end cars and Teslas. I'm like, look at that, Jack. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Question: what do you think builders break even with the shortage? Do you have insight or guessed on the estimated timeline? Okay, let me read that again. When do you think builders break even with the shortage? Do you have any insight or any guesstimate on the timeline? I don't know if I understand the question.
I'm not understanding that.
Do you break even with a shortage? Oh, I guess like they would normally make about 20 houses during this time, and now they can only make 10 because there's a shortage of supply. This is my guess. When do you think that that is going to be rectified? There's, and it's been like a domino effect. So this is one of those things. So because this hasn't been able to get done, there's other things that have gone and caused problems in the supply chain. And, and we're not the only ones that are suffering from this. This is all over the country.
What's in the car business? There's a car shortage of new cars because the computer chips they're not making. Mm-hmm. I have a leased car. My lease is up in July. I'm probably going to have to extend it until I figure out what I'm doing, because this is a bit of it's a domino effect. Lumber prices are high, as we know. And so if these contractors and builders can't get, say, vehicles, and they're having a problem with lumber. And also, too, I think part of the issue, too, is a labor shortage. I know we're hearing more and more about that down here. There's just a lot of labor shortages in certain businesses.
So here's an interesting thing that's happened here. So there is some aspects of people that have left the like construction business or whatever, because we have tons of plants around here. I don't know if you know that. Okay. So they're like, why would all right, I've been working down in the sun and baking, and I haven't been able to do my job. I'm going to go ahead and get a job at the plant. So the plant hires them. And then there's a lot of people that are like, I was a waitress. A lot of these restaurants haven't been open for me. I'm going to go ahead and work at Starbucks because they've remained open. So a lot of people just shifted jobs. Now in California, some of the labor shortages, of course, those low income jobs, and a lot of those people couldn't afford to live there. They just left and went back home. Like there is a decrease in population in California, and it's been documented through the recent census. So I think I think that a lot of people that had the idea of maybe this isn't the job for me anymore, 2020 said, what?
I think there was a lot of that.
Yeah. So a lot of people too, during that time, went ahead and got more education so they could get a better job. So, I think
you're so spot on with that. I think a lot of people did a lot of online training, courses, and certifications. That's number one. I know
I did.
Me too. Mm-hmm. And we're always learning as realtors and entrepreneurs. I love to learn, and I think that's one of the gifts that we can give ourselves. But then I think there was this shift in mindset, and I saw this with my millennials in particular, which is how did I want to see my next year? What is important? I like to travel. My daughter's a flight attendant. I don't have to pay for flights, right? Mm-hmm. And I missed that break from being able to travel at the drop of a hat and things like that. And I realized how important that was to me. And I think the laptop lifestyle became into play big time. And people started to dream again, surprisingly, during a very challenging and difficult time. And they went, I don't want to do this anymore.
So one of the articles I read very early on, they said that whenever there's a moment in American history that there comes desperation, that's when innovation happens and creativity starts to take over. So I'm actually very interested to see, first of all, what happens with housing, because there is such a problem. So I'm wondering what creativity and innovations are going to happen because of that. It's going to change. This housing market is going to change in a way that we haven't really thought about before. Agreed. That it's going to be like, wow. Yeah. And I think that's a lot of people's careers have changed as well. So do we have any more questions, Eduardo? You want to throw up there? Why do I keep saying throw up? That is so gross.
Toss up. Why don't you say toss up there?
I know. I need to write it down so I stop saying
Put a sticky note.
Yeah, it's so gross. Let's see here. I think Eddie might have had to go to the bathroom.
That'd be my husband.
Paul Clay
Where
says
are ya? In the
FEMA,
can.
FEMA rates are the same regardless in which insurance company writes it. Then there is a private flood insurance. Some mortgage lenders will not allow you to use private. You have to check. Yes, Paul's right. And if you, yeah, and it depends on the floodplain that you're in, and if your neighbor's paying $575 and you guys have the same exact house, you're paying $575 too. It's like it is what it is.
That is the one thing that happened down here is our insurance rates skyrocketed about 35% higher this new period. So that is throwing off some PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance issues for buyers because the insurance, if we have windstorm, because of hurricane season and whatnot, if your insurance was say around $4,500 a year, it jacked up to about $7,500.
$4,500
I know.
a year. I just started sweating.
Okay, Kristina, now you can say throw up.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Boiled nuts. The man from Hawaii says, question, would you ladies buy your homes today at today's market price and interest rates? I wouldn't.
Ooh,
my house.
Great question.
Would I buy my current house at today's? I would, if it has everything that I have put in it right now.
Probably.
I would.
I would. My location. There's my why.
Yeah, I would buy this house. It we went up. Like I don't even know what my
just go to Zillow.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you because I always say Zillow has the worst estimates in the whole entire world. So I was going to do a video on how Zillow was so wrong, and I was going to use a comparison of a house like my house, and sure enough, it was exactly what the comps were. But in a lot of cases, like if you walked right outside of this neighborhood and went to another house outside of it, the thing is that the comps that Zillow would use, they would use my neighborhood as the comps to the houses across the street that were built in the 70s and their ranches. They're not, that isn't a comparable, but they would give them that comparison and their value would be extremely high. So you just have to be careful with that. Take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly.
I don't know if I'd buy my house. It's a little pricey. It's a little pricey.
I think the question is, could I afford my house?
I can afford my house, but would I buy it? Yeah, I still think it's worth that amount of money.
Getting up there where it's almost like,
I would still buy my house,
but I love my house. And I love where I live.
But boiled nuts, I don't know if you know this, but when I lived in my house in Florida and it had gone up from 135 to 285, I'm like, there's no way I would buy this house for 285. We need to sell. And Eddie was like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, we're selling and we're getting out of here. We're getting out of Florida. And that's exactly what we did. We ended up selling it for 250 because the housing market crashed so quickly. Yeah. And we moved here. It was the best decision I ever made in my life.
It crashed.
It tanked so bad, but that was held up by kooky loans, not the same market.
I totally agree.
Question: how hard is it to get in right now with VA loans? If you qualify for a VA loan, it's not hard to get a VA loan. It's just hard for sellers to accept a VA loan. If you're going to get a cash buyer that's going to buy your house cash, or you're going to get somebody that has a loan or a government-backed loan that has no skin in the game and they're putting very little money down, which offer would you take? You're going to take the cash offer, right. And it's not that they have anything against you. Of course, it's the same amount of money, but that cash buyer is more likely to close and not have any problems, and there's going to be no delays. It's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. As far as like a VA loan, you can have delays and you can have more paperwork. And does that does that seller want to do that? That's up to them.
Well, here's the other thing. It may not appraise.
Yeah. And then VA, if it doesn't appraise, you're going to have to come out of pocket.
I don't know if you're allowed to with the VA. Are you? That's the question.
Yes.
Are you allowed to contribute?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. You can't. If you have the cash and the funds, you can.
Okay.
Yep. We had that on here. Malcolm Lawson.
Good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't do a ton of them. So thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm. Question: does a new freeway close to a house increase the value of the house? A brand new freeway is about 5 miles away from me, and now they're building a brand new fire station 2 miles away from me. It depends on the noise traffic. If you do not have the noise traffic and it's 5 miles away, increases your value because it makes it more accessible to the rest of the world. Yes. that is an increased value, because
Yeah.
we have a little area around here. It's called Dutchtown, and it's right near the interstate, and that is a hot button
Yeah.
area. Hot button. I'm shocked. People literally build their houses that back up to the freeway, and those things sell like hotcakes. That noise
Yeah.
would drive me crazy. But they
Yeah.
sell.
It depends sometimes, you know.
Question: do you believe townhouses are very underrated? I have no kids, and I bought a single family home last year, and I regret leaving my townhouse due to all the maintenance required outside and noise. I'm going to give my opinion. You give yours. This condo is just that, which is you have to accept with what you want. So would it be good for me? No, because my husband loves to make out with the yard every single weekend. I mean, he's literally for 5 hours sitting there cutting every blade of grass, and then makes me look at it for 20 minutes. Oh, what a great job he did. But if he wanted, he wouldn't do a condo. But if I was by myself, that's my dream. I have my own house. I'm paying my own mortgage. I don't have to maintain crap. Yeah, that would be my way to do it. And if I did have a house like you do, I would have I would just have a landscaping company mowing my lawn for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? It's not too late to sell. It's not too late to sell.
Townhouses are, it's a lifestyle.
Yes.
It really is a lifestyle. And again, it goes back to, it depends. Where are you in your life? What are you doing? What kind of maintenance? How much is the maintenance fee? What are you getting for your maintenance fee? What are they handling for you? Now, here's the caveat. And this is what I always say. Where are you in your stage of life? Because townhouses typically have stairs. Do you, in your mid-50s or older, let's just say, want something that has stairs? God forbid you get sick. God forbid you break a hip. God forbid. I always talk to my midlifers about that, because I think that's an important point, because you could be very isolated upstairs in your bedroom if it's not a bedroom on the first floor.
Another thing too is how often do they increase those HOA monthly? Right. How much? Do they increase it every year? How much? What is the percentage they increase it? What do those fees cover? Because sometimes some of these townhomes, you're like, I mean, this yard looks terrible. I mean, you come out here and mow it, but it looks like death, and these roads are awful. And when are you going to fix the siding? And how often are these, roofs going to get done? And you have to fight them tooth and nail. So always talk to your neighbors if you're planning on getting a townhome. But they're not a bad idea. It depends on the area. Like if you were to buy a townhouse here in my specific area, not necessarily, unless you're planning on renting that sucker out, not really a good idea. Eddie didn't like me blasting him about his lawn.
Oh, that's funny.
He does a great job though. He even makes I'm not even joking. He loves mowing the lawn, and he even makes patterns in the lawn. He had to have surgery once, and I was like, I hired a lawn mowing company, and he moaned about it afterwards because they cut it too short. And I was like, oh, poor Eddie. Poor Eddie. Eddie, you want to throw up another question? I'm not going to stop saying throw up. It's just going to happen.
That's fine.
Maybe he quit.
He might have quit. And I sent you a little text message.
Did you have to run?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. Well, we'll let you go. Michelle, I want to say thank you so much for being a part of today. And if you guys want to continue the conversation without Michelle, and you want to just have a little chit chat, let me know in the comments section, and I'll keep going.
This was so much fun today. I really enjoyed it. And you have such a great audience. You guys are fantastic. What great questions. Really good. I learned stuff today.
I love my people. I love them. They are.
They're cool.
I know. And some of them come out every single week and enjoy it's like I don't have like a ton of friends around here. So like every Sunday when I get on these live streams, I'm hanging out with my friends, talking about one of my favorite things, which is real estate. How fun is that?
And you're so good at it. I mean, such great information. I learn stuff whenever I watch all your videos and whatnot. So thank you so much for having me as a guest. I have to go to an 80th birthday party for somebody.
One of my favorite things I've ever seen is this woman. It was like her 90th birthday, and she was so excited, and she was blowing out the candles, and her teeth came out with it, and then she just started cracking up laughing because her teeth were in the cake. She's like, "No one's gonna want it now."
And nobody's gonna know.
No one's gonna know.
Thanks,
all right, Michelle. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye, honey. Thanks.
All right, so she's gone. That was awesome to have Michelle here. So I do want to put this up. Keep going. Or just Homestead. Yes, let's just keep talking. We'll keep going for another 10 minutes. I want to show you something else. So if there's, I know that there's real estate agents that are in this chat right now. And if you're a real estate agent and you want to be part of my YouTube group, I know this is like self-promoting myself, but look, I have this YouTube group. It's totally free to join. If you're a real estate agent and you want to know how I do YouTube, I give all of my information for free. There's no super weird course. I'm not like that. It's just a bunch of people in the real estate business that have YouTube channels that want to learn how I do what I do. So I give everybody that information. Over 4,000 members. All right. Do we have any more questions? Let's go there. Please do a show about Zillow estimates. Well, we could talk about that a little bit. So years ago, I don't know if you guys know this, that the Zillow Corporation was sued not once, not twice, but like 5 times about their zestimates, because one seller, the first one was that one seller lost his deal because the zestimate had said that his house was worth a lot less. Super sticker, $20 super sticker. Thank you, Chris Conkle. Thank you so much. So he lost his the buyer because the zestimate said his house was worth this much. The appraisal came back, said it was worth this much, and the buyer walked away. And he was like, that's false advertising. So it went through the court system. They're like, no, it clearly says in very, very tiny print that this is just an estimate. It's never should be used as an appraisal. Sure enough, fast forward another year, same kind of thing happens, but it's the opposite. Zillow is saying that her house is worth like $300,000 less, and she's in San Francisco. And she's like, I already have an appraisal. It's worth more, but because you guys are advertising it's worth less, buyers won't come to my house. They think my house is overpriced, which it's not. So she went ahead and tried to sue them again. She lost. When you have working against a big corporation and they do these kinds of zestimates or estimates or anything else, the little guy isn't going to win. They have deeper pockets. They will drag you through the courts for years. It's not going to happen. But because they said the word estimate, that's what keeps them being able to continue using that on their websites, because it isn't necessarily, it doesn't say appraised value, it says estimate. So that's what stinks about good old Zillow. What do you think of short-term rentals? So if you're talking about like Airbnbs, they're fantastic. You always have to maintain them. They can kind of like stink for some people, but they can be wonderful for others. Here in our area, we have short-term rentals because there's people that work at the plants. They work at the paper plants, so they work at the chemical plants, and they're only going to be working here for a short period of time or seasonal work. So we have short-term rentals. They're fully furnished and they're fantastic. I just think it depends on the area, and you would have to check with the real estate agent to see if the ROI is worth it. Chance. Okay. That I answered that question. So I hope that helps you, Chance. I hope that makes sense for your specific area. So, any more questions? I don't think we have any more questions. Well, I'm glad that you guys got to spend time with me today. And I'm glad that I got to spend time with you because I enjoy every single Sunday. Oh, CC Moon's going to throw one out there before I leave. Do you get texts about buying to buy your house? Is it Zillow? I never reply. It is either an investor or it is a real estate agent. So I wouldn't answer them. I block them personally. I don't think anybody that's randomly reaching out to you and you have no idea who they are should be. No, indeed. Just block. One last reminder before I let you guys go for your day. I want to say thank you. And don't forget, if you happen to see a profile picture that looks like this and it has joined 15 hours ago and they have no subscribers and they're asking you to text a freaking WhatsApp number, that is not me. I'm never going to ask you to buy Bitcoin, and I'm never going to ask you to text me on a WhatsApp number. So just please be careful. I don't want anybody to get there. I mean, this poor lady, they were asking for $10,000 from her. $10,000. I felt so bad for her. I'm glad she reached out to me and let me know. I can't control it. I wish I could. So everybody, thank you. Have a fantastic Sunday. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.